Let's fight, folks. Let's fight. And welcome in the ring to each and every one of you, wherever you guys are joining us from this evening. It's our In the Ring special, the aftermath of the Brickdam police station Inferno. Let's fight, folks. You know, as you come on, we invite you guys to share the live stream wherever you guys are joining us from this evening, whether it's at home here in Guyana or you're in the diaspora, you're in region 11. Welcome in the ring, folks. Let's fight. We're ready to go at our end, and we hope that you guys are ready to go as well as per normal. Lots of information to share with you guys, but we hope that you guys have had a restful weekend thus far and that you are indeed ready to fight, guys. We are ready at our end. Welcome in the ring to each and every one of you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Of course, we're going to wait until we get to that magic number, and then we are going to get right to it, ladies and gentlemen. Good to see so many of you joining us. Rose Chappelle and Debbie Smart, Felix and Kenneth Dennis and Diane Fordyce and Chester, all of you, fantastic, fantastic folks. We are very, very happy that you guys are in the ring this evening. We got the fight card ready, guys, and we are ready to go at our end. We are fired up, guys, and we are ready to go. Nothing in regular, and this thing and adding up. Too many things not adding up. Orwin Don Cook and Gail LaRose, Annie, Rosham, Kimo Waldron, Alia Waldron, Junie Blackendo, Claire Alexis. Good to see you there. Kim Richards, all you fantastic people. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Marlon Thomas and Kona Mingo. Guys, as you come on, you know what you got to do. You got to share the live stream, and let's get to the fight card. I want you guys to see down of the Brickdam police station. We're looking at the aftermath, and guys, our apologies there. Bear with us, and we are going to be right with you guys. We are set with the hot topics, and we are ready to go at our end. We are ready to go at our end. Bear with us, guys, and we are going to be with you guys soon enough, ensuring that you guys, apologies there, ensuring that you guys are with us, waiting till we get to that magic number, ensuring all systems are go at the back end, guys, and as soon as we get a sense that you guys are ready where you are, we are going to be good to go as well. Stay with us, guys. Share the live stream wherever you guys are joining us from this evening. Share the live stream, and we are going to get to going very, very shortly. Share that live stream, folks. Share that live stream. Waiting for you guys to get to that magic number again. We're looking at the Brickdam police station Inferno. 80% of what stood there at the Brickdam police station has been raised to the ground. 80% of it, guys. 80%. We're just making sure we queued up at our end, and all is ripe and ready to go. Bear with us there, guys. And we are just about ready, waiting until we get to that magic number where you guys are concerned. And then we are going to be good to go. Good to go. Great to see each and every one of you. Share the live stream. Share the live stream. We want to see those emojis as well, guys. We really want to see those emojis as well. And as you can see, we are ready to go. Folks, we are ready to go. Share the live stream. Are you guys ready to go? We are so ready to go. Don't know about you, but we are ready to go. We want to see those emojis. How you guys are feeling this evening. Happy Sunday evening to each and every one of you. Happy Sunday evening, guys. Ready to fight? Ready to get right to it. And we are so privileged that so many of you are joining us this evening. We are so very, very privileged, guys, that so many of you are joining us this evening. And as we've said, we don't know about you, but we are ready to go at our end. And as soon as we get to that magic number, we are going to be off and running. We're going to be off and running, folks, as soon as we get to that magic number. Again, great to see so many of you out this evening, tuned in, fired up, ready to go. And we are ready to go at our end as well, guys. Making sure that we are queued up so when we start, ain't got no stopping. All right? All right. And we are waiting on you guys, ensuring that we get to that magic number. Share the live stream. I see we have quite a few folks that have joined us as well. Alvin Prince and Angela McDonald, Sharon Grant, Joy and Hooper Beckles, historian, added up. And we know, Guyanese people know that. Rowena Cummins, we know that you know the story and adding up. Rowena, you know the story is not adding up. Are we going to point them out to you? We are going to point them out to you. Some folks are going to be stopping by as well, guys. Putting you on notice for that. We're going to get some insight. And it's going to be quite an evening. Again, happy to have so many of you joining us this evening. Alvin Prince and Romeo Sinclair, Sporry Lee, all the usual suspects. Nadia and Donna DeBarros and Forbes, Bob, all you fantastic folks. Guys, we are ready to go, ready to get right to it. Let's fight, guys. Let's fight. As we have said, so much of what we are hearing out of this installed administration makes absolutely no sense to us. So much of what we're hearing makes no sense to us. Right? Absolutely no sense to us. Not so Horace Thomas and Yasmin and Dulcie Gulliver, all you fantastic people out there, Alia Waldron, Yvette Jerrick, all you great folks who are joining us out there, you got a sense that nothing ain't making sense here. Nothing not making sense here, and people have been pointing it out over and over. You go through social media and you will see. You will see lots of persons that are saying nothing irregular. Nothing irregular. And so again, we are so privileged that so many of you are joining us this evening for the program. And first off the bat, believe it or not, guys, we are heading into Fire Prevention Week. Believe it or not, we are heading into Fire Prevention Week. What a week for the installed Minister of Home Affairs, this Jagabat, Robeson Ben, who should not even be in government at this point. This Jagabat, Robeson Ben, what a week. It's Fire Prevention Week. And the law seemed to have been laid down on calamity in Edo, or Edu. Quite a number of things, disparaging things said about the Guyana Fire Service. Just this morning, quite a few things. Quite disparaging if y'all don't want to work. Do the honorable thing. A whole set of stuff has been said. And so it is Fire Prevention Week. And the theme of this year's observation, it's better to be safe with fire prevention in place. How they working out for Brickdam Police Station? It is better to be safe. That is the theme. With fire prevention in place. How they working out with the administration? The installed government. It is better to be safe with fire prevention in place. Well, definitely they got to go back to the drawing board with that. Because it is not working out too well at all. And so, what a beacon. if one can call it that, of light. This massive fire that has destroyed 80% of the Brickdam police station has been, as Fire Prevention Week gets underway. What a massive embarrassment that has been. That being said, ladies and gentlemen, the police force is saying to us this evening that they are sparing no efforts. They are sparing no efforts in this investigation. As a matter of fact, they would have said to us that they have a confession. They have a confession out of a 26-year-old unemployed gentleman named Clarence Green. Clarence Green, 26, unemployed, and he was at the time a detainee. He was in the lockups there at Brickdam at the time when this fire was set. And they are claiming that Green, who was arrested early Saturday morning, October 2nd, and placed in the Brickdam lockups for an alleged robbery under arms, he told investigators during his confession that his motives for starting the fire was due to him being detained for a couple of hours. Why he started the fire? He was detained for a couple of hours and he became frustrated. Clarence Green became frustrated, and Clarence decided what? He gonna burn down the whole Brickdam police station. But a lot of people ain't buying this story. Folks, a lot of people are not buying this story. Right? And one of those persons, ladies and gentlemen, is an oil man named Leon. One of those persons is an oil man named Leon. And I want to play some of what Leon would have said, because it resonated with so many persons that, folks, this story here ain't adding up. Nothing in regular with this story. So I want you guys to give the oil man a listen. Give him a listen. Because what he said here, again, resonates with so many persons. So many persons. Take a listen. All right, some folks are saying they're not getting any song. All right, guys, we're going to correct that. Some folks are saying they're not getting any song. Let us correct that very, very quickly and bring that back to you because we want to make sure that you have that live and direct. So bear with us a second. Let's make sure that we can get it right at our end here and that we have this song. Bear with me, guys, and we should have that rectified in just a session because we want, again, lots of people unbelieving this masquerade here. We're gonna take that back from the top. Let me click that. Let me click that back. Apologies there, and let me see if we have that now.
Today I want to touch on Green. This by Green, a prisoner. Green is a prisoner at the Brickdam lockup. Green, you're bitter. You're atrocious, Green. You're wicked. You're demonized, Green. Green, you telling me you give the police a statement, Green? How can you give the police such a statement, Green? You got to do over the whole statement, you know. You have to do over the entire statement, Green. That's the best you could have come up with, Green. You tell and then you make the police write the statement and give a press release. Here, you see what you know much work your cast people right now, Green? Green, you telling me that you beat the security. When they give you a search, you go in there with a lighter. Where you getting lighter the match from? Then you go and take a piece of sponge and tie it up on a wire, light it, and then push it through a hole, and it catch the other building, the other wood building that is next door to the car, quick building, and really document went in. That's what you tell the police, Green. Green, you couldn't come up with nothing else to tell the police. You know next week the police might have to change this whole story because the world wouldn't believe it. Green, you out of your mind? What you thinking? Why you didn't come up and say, I just didn't like Brickdam? Why you just didn't come up and say, I just don't like the country? Why you just didn't come up with something else rather than say you were feeling pressured? Is you alone went in the lockup? Is everybody in the lockup going for something? You alone, you as a brag by, you alone think up with the whole idea? Green, you know what you cost us? This is the only time they get so much of big heads all come together in one place at the same singular moment. The only time, none time in history I've ever seen so many big boys in one place at the same time. That shouldn't have happened, Green. This is the fastest I've ever seen this country ever organize mass, huge equipment to start doing cleanup. This is the first time in a couple of hours I've ever heard engineers done start working on plans to start rebuild any building in this country. I've never heard engineer work so fast yet. Green, you're bitter. I'm upset. When I say upset, I'm upset. Today folks, I want to touch on Green.
Folks, this is the lighter, wire, and sponge regime. Fantastical story. Fantastical creative writing. This is the lighter, wire, and sponge regime. We need to hashtag that. The lighter, wire, and sponge regime. It is fantastical. This is a bestseller. Whoever wrote it, it's a bestseller. Fantastical. I don't know if you Guyanese ever heard this phrase. Total confunction nonsense. Fantastical. Total confunction nonsense. The statement from the police, as I said to you, said they're sparing no efforts. People are buying it. His motives for starting the fire was due to him being detained for a couple of hours, and he became frustrated. He became frustrated. They go on. In the police statement, following the fire on Saturday, the prisoners who were in the Brickdam lockups were questioned, and two of them claimed that after the fire was seen, and they were taken out of the cells and escorted to Brickdam police station. They were placed in a cell with Clarence Green. Fortunately enough, the duo said Green told them, he said, she said, them said, Green told them that he took a piece of sponge, wrapped it in a piece of wire and lit it. Yes, lighter, sponge and wire regime. And he pushed it through a ventilation hole in the cell over to a part that had some document, and it catches a fire. Yeah, catch all of that. Green said he told this duo that he shared a cell with it. He took a piece of sponge, wrapped it in a piece of wire, and he lit it. Not only did he do all of that, right? Because he had the marriage, he got lighter, sponge, wire, and all that. He pushed it through a ventilation hole in the cell over to a part that had some documents, and it catches fire. Following the revelation, Clarence was then video interviewed, questioned by detectives, during which he confessed and told investigators that he tore off a piece of sponge from a mattress in the cell that he was in. He hooked it to a piece of wire. This is really Mission Impossible kind of story here. Mission Impossible directors, producers, and writers couldn't come up with something better. He tore off a piece of sponge from a mattress in the cell that he was in. He hooked it on a piece of wire and lit same with a cigarette lighter, which he then pushed through a ventilation hole in the Brickdam, in the cell at Brickdam. Investigations continue. And so a man that is a petty criminal of no known repute, could bring this entire city and nation to a standstill with a sponge, a wire, and a lighter. Embarrass the government, the Guyana Police Force, the Guyana Fire Service, and the oil-producing Cooperative Republic of Guyana with a sponge, a wire, and a lighter. Who knew? Fantastical story. But the police force under Nigel Hoppy and company, these jagabats, they said they are sparing no efforts. Y'all sharing the live stream, people? We want the international community to hear this Mission Impossible, fantastical, total confunction nonsense. But the police force, sparing no efforts. Sparing no efforts. And why, ladies and gentlemen, they were out there trying to out the fire, one wonders if they were really trying to out the fire. If they were really trying to out the fire, because Nigel Hughes has a piece of narrative on this that is quite interesting. Quite interesting. Nigel Hughes says on his Facebook page, publicly, Nigel Hughes says, for an hour and a half, while at the Brickdam police station was being raised, my wife and I informed the police, the fire service, and some government officials that the fire hydrant in front of our office was working. Nigel Hughes has an office on Hatfield Street, oblique to the Brickdam police station, if not behind the police station. The fire service, according to senior lawyer Nigel Hughes, the fire service, including senior fire officers, pointed to the blue paint on the hydrant and informed me in no uncertain terms that the hydrant was not working. The good and faithful people of Working Rust deployed their own resources. Big up Working Rust, respect and manners. Deployed their own resources, found equipment, and then came what? Mud, sand, water came out of a non-working fire hydrant. And if Nigel Hughes says so, I believe him. He says water came out of this supposed non-working fire hydrant. By this time, both office buildings had caught fire, the Hughes building, and were extinguished by bucket brigades. Not the high-tech fire service, the bucket brigades, consisting solely of the good and faithful residents of Working Rust and those friends and clients who left their homes to come out to help. He ends his statement on Facebook by saying, to say that they were humbled and eternally grateful and indebted to the good people of the neighborhood and those that came from wherever they were would be an understatement. To the salt of the earth citizens of Working Ross and all our friends, we are deeply appreciative. Respect and manners. So the bucket brigade could save 2 buildings, but a whole fire service and a whole police force can't save a compound. Cannot save a compound. And folks, as we move on, Mr. Paul Slow had some interesting observations. Mr. Paul Slow had some very interesting observations. Very, very interesting observations, ladies and gentlemen. This is what Paul Slow, for his part, wrote on social media, because Irfan promised some investigations. He promised some investigations. Let me see if we have that queued up for you. Irfan Ali promised some investigation. He came out hot. Oh, conspiracy and threats that were made, and promised some investigations. Here is what he said. Here's part of what he said, ladies and gentlemen.
I've been getting snapshots of all the speculations around. People are concerned based on the threats that were made. We are going to get international support to determine exactly what is that. We are going to get that.
So threats were made, and lots of persons and commentators have said this is referring to the Rickford Burke protests in Brooklyn that hurt them. They are now saying threats were made at that rally and trying to link it to the burning down of the Brickdam police station, but people aren't buying it. No sooner has he said that international investigations will be carried out on the burning down of the Brickdam police station. An investigation into these threats. Well, apparently they didn't tell he that Clarence Green would confess. Nobody briefed Irfan. Well, y'all know it's Irfan. Nobody briefed Irfan that Clarence Green would confess. So this is what Paul Slow said on social media. What international investigation? Earlier this morning, I heard President Ali expressing his displeasure with the response of the Guyana Fire Service to the fire which gutted several buildings in the Brickdam police compound. In my view, Paul Slow, the chairman of the Police Service Commission, in my view, Paul Slow says, the expressed outrage is justifiable. Paul Slow, he goes on to say, the president went on to state that he would seek international help to help ascertain the cause of the fire. This is laudable. According to Paul Slow, this is laudable. Paul Slow goes on. He says, shortly after I saw a video of heavy-duty machines in Brickdam compound clearing the fire debris, I was alarmed. How can you be removing debris from the fire scene before the investigation? Before the investigation, should the scene not be treated as a crime scene until the investigators determine otherwise? Shouldn't the scene be treated like a crime scene until the investigators determine otherwise? Now, they're too bright. They're brighter than Paul Slow. They're bright enough to stop the fire before it consumes the entire compound. But they're bright to have started clearing the compound. Paul Slow goes on and ends by saying, Slow says, in my training and experience, or rather my training and experience, tell me that the area should be secured to ensure that the scene is not tampered with. That sounds like a no-brainer to me. That sounds like a no-brainer. My training and experience tells me that the area should be secure to ensure the scene is not tampered with. And he ends by saying, that is the only way a proper investigation can be conducted. That is the only way a proper investigation can be conducted. And finally, he says, over to the experts. Because clearly, they got people in the police force more bright than Paul Slow. Over to the expert. So Ali is saying there's an international connection and the international partners will help them do it in an investigation. And the police force is saying, oh, it's just lowly Clarence Green. And he confessed. And we got it in video. Confusion powder, folks, since August 2nd, 2020 to now. And there was a plethora of ministers on the ground there at Brickdam. And while that in and of itself can be justifiable, one wonders whether in this instance it did more harm than good. Because the police and fire service now might have to divert attention to protecting ministers from harm as against fighting the fire. And we were made to understand that like Vindhya Prasad, there were other ministers on the ground giving directions to professional policemen. So the one minister work, the one firefighter work, the one fire chief work is confusion powder. It is the powder of confusion, and it is confusion powder. Anil was on the ground. People say Anil got a lot of wind in a lot of places. Anil might have been aiding the breeze that exacerbated the flames. And it is alleged Anil was giving instruction. It is alleged that also the Fisher bishop was giving instructions. Now the bishop is supposed to be a prophet. He see all this coming. Like he's a false prophet. And the good book says, many shall say, Lord, Lord, and he shall say, depart from me. You never see nothing. And I never knew you. How did bishop see all this, man? Huh? Like money and greed that's cloud the bishop's spiritual powers. He ain't picking up nothing. You see when you got these Fisher bishops and false prophet? Repent! Generation of vipers and hypocrites, hypocrites. So one wonders, ladies and gentlemen, if some of this has done more harm than good. Everybody on the ground giving directions. Folks, y'all sharing the live stream? Y'all sharing it or y'all just stingy and keeping all to yourself? And where are those emojis? And then some people either get too bright. Or some people too kind. Too bright or too kind. You can be the judge. One entity says they are ready to replace the Guyana police force if needed. A private entity. A couple mornings ago, they were giving big billboards and big endorsements to Ben. And yesterday, they're saying they're ready to step in. Sheriff Security in a post on Facebook, bizarre, says in the light of the unfortunate fire and partial destruction of the Brickdam Police Headquarters, the management and staff of Sheriff Security Services wishes to extend their forces to the Guyana Police Force. Because it's a pack of dunce y'all got. The Guyana Police Force. Apparently, if needed, we stand with the Guyanese Police Force in the fight against crime in Guyana and the safety of our citizens. Our security officers are fully trained and equipped to render assistance that may be needed. You see, because this is a slight now. It's shared the train of the police force and the fire service. We are trained and equipped. Y'all are sharing this live stream. They said they are trained and equipped. But folks, what to me is more frightening and demonstrates a real failure of leadership, a ginormous failure of leadership, is that while all of this was happening, ladies and gentlemen, while all of this was happening, ministers, including Irfan Ali, were at an event at the Promenade Gardens when this fire was happening. And according to the police report, the fire started around 11:06. According to the police report, around 11:06. Ministers of government and the president, the installed catfish Irfan Ali, you were at the Promenade Gardens. Nobody broke rank from that event for the fire. When the event was finished, then everybody went over. Then everybody decided they were going to go over. I'm going to have my guest on shortly. They're going to go over when the event was finished. Now look at the proximity from the Promenade Gardens to Brickdam Police Station, and the proximity from the Brickdam Police Station to the fire service. To the fire service. We're talking about the fire service, folks. Irfan Ali this morning didn't even seem to know. Did not even seem to know that the fire service right by the Stabrook Market is the main fire service. He did not seem to know that. He did not seem to know what the budget was for the fire service. And they only had 2 national budgets. Right? And then he did not seem to know the difference between temporary and permanent.
I've been getting snapshots of all the speculations around. People are concerned. Today they're going to examine some other temporary but more permanent measures in terms of asset acquisition to our main fire station, right? How much money we spent already in the last year on fire?
Yep. You know the difference between temporary and permanent. You know that the fire service right by Stabrook Market Square there is the main fire service. You don't know what's the budget. And this is a man who went out this morning trying to indict the very fire service. Quite strangely, trying to indict them.
The inefficiency has to be weeded out. If you don't want to perform public service, then do the honorable thing.
Maybe he should do the right thing and resign. Again, what is mind-boggling to us, our guests are about to come on, is this close proximity, ladies and gentlemen. Mind-boggling to us between the fire service right by Stabrook Market Square and, ladies and gentlemen, the Brickdam Police Station. And if you don't believe they're very, very close, we want to give you, just before we have our guest on, a very short walkthrough of that area there. A very short walkthrough. Bear with us, folks, as we set this up for you. Bear with us as we set this up for you. Bear with us. I want to make sure you understand. It's confusion powder. It's not 10 miles. It's less than a 5 minutes walk. And we want to get that for you. Take a look at this, guys. How close the fire service is. For those persons that asked for too long, and y'all don't know where the fire service headquarters is, like Irfan Ali, to the Brickdam Police Station, take a look at this. Take a look, see.
The day after the Inferno that leveled the Brickdam Police Station, and we're outside the main office, also known as the headquarters of the Guyana Fire Service. This is at Stabrook Market. And we just want to give you guys a sense of the distance between the fire service and the Brickdam Police Station. So we're going to take a short walk over to where the Brickdam Police Station once stood. Rather, again, we're outside of the Guyana Fire Service here at the Stabrook Market Square. So we're going to take a walk across to the Brickdam Police Station. Once you understand the geography of the Stabrook Market area, you'd know that this is the general Stabrook Market Square. And so we are leaving the area of the fire service, which, according to estimates, is just a 2 minutes drive between here where we are and the Guyana Fires and the Brickdam Police Station. All of this is the Stabrook Market, And there have been proposals of recent to relocate the Guyana Fire Service from the Sabrick Market area to Homestretch Avenue. Whether they will go forward with those plans, knowing how critical the fire service is in this area here. And if nothing says that, this inferno that engulfed the Brickdam police station is testament of that. So again, a very short walk across to where the Brickdam police station once stood. We've left the Guyana Fire Service headquarters here at Stabrook Market, and we are moving past the Parliament building. And to let you know, it's actually a very, very short walk across. Much more if you are with sirens and in fire tenders heading across to put out what should have been a small fire that ultimately took on and took over and took down the entire Brickdam police station. The day after the Inferno that leveled the Brickdam police station, and we're outside the main office, also known as the headquarters of the Guyana Fire Service. This is at Stabrook Market. I just want to give you guys.
All right, guys, we're going to have that back for you.
We seem to have the fire service.
We seem to have lost a piece of it. Let me see.
At Stabrook Market.
Yeah,
and we're going
to have that back for you.
Parliament
but I want to have my guest on this evening, ladies and gentlemen. Without any further ado, let me welcome Mr. Manzo Walton Desir, Mr. Ganesh Mai Paul. I hope we get Ganesh's video. And also Kathy Hughes is joining us, ladies and gentlemen. And I want to welcome again Amanza Walton Desir. Apologies there. And Kathy Hughes. We're going to wait for Ganesh to get his video. Folks, a very good evening.
Good evening.
And you guys know by now what has been transpiring. Like many of our citizens, you've seen what has happened here on the ground at home. The total inferno that engulfed the Brickdam police station and razed it to the ground. And Kathy and Amanza, it's more questions than answers. Sadly to say, it's more questions than answers. Let me start with Kathy. Kathy, you were outside of the headquarters of Hughes Fields and Stobie there. And with that incident concerning the fire hydrant, tell us about that.
Well, Sharad, we received, Nigel and I received a call, and we actually were at our offices at about 10 to 12. Once we got there, Nigel said, and told me, and also went over to the police officers who were dressed in khaki. They were restraining the public from coming too close. Remember, this would be what would be the back end of in Hatfield Street, which would be the back end of the police station heading towards the Parliament side, which is where we are. And he went over to the police officers and said to them, "Sir, I know for sure that this hydrant is working. It was actually checked just about 3 months ago, and we saw water coming out of it." And the police officer, and I think maybe there was somebody from the fire service, not in uniform, but in plain clothes right there. And they seemed very excited at the fact that we had a hydrant right there with water. And as I mentioned to you, this was at about 5 to 12 lunchtime yesterday. Of course, as you may know, we had some very scary moments, because what was happening is that because of the intensity of the fire, there were a lot of embers and sparks flying over onto buildings on Hatfield Street. And so we actually had a coconut tree that is between two of our buildings that caught a fire. And luckily we were able to get someone with a chainsaw that came within seconds and cut down that tree. And in the meantime, whilst Nigel is dealing with this, I must thank the residents of Working Russ, who literally came and formed a bucket brigade. So every time we saw smoke on part of the building, we had persons that went all the way up to the third floors. A couple of the guys were actually on the roof passing buckets of water to out the flames, to douse the building. Now, I was on the ground all the time. And so there were at least 5 or 6 times when I went over between 12 o'clock right on to about 1:15. where I mentioned on quite a few occasions, folks, this hydrant is working. And I was a little perturbed that the initial response I got at 12 o'clock became very lukewarm as time passed. Nobody seemed to be interested in the fact that the fire tenders that were up the street, that had finally arrived to fight the fire from the back end from Hatfield Street, did not seem to be interested in getting additional water supply. There was a fire tender there at the time that hadn't been yet connected. And so I took it upon myself, because by that time we had full representation of the government there. We saw Anil Nandalal, Priya was there, Vidya was there. I actually took it upon myself to go over and to say to them, after I saw no progress with the use of that hydrant, which I thought could impact the fighting of the fire, I did go over to them and say, folks, there's a fire hydrant. We know it has water in it. It was checked a couple of months ago. And so, of course, by this time, the residents started to get very, very agitated, because it was clear, for whatever reason, nobody was interested in getting access to the water from that hydrant. Of course, the photographs will show that a lot of our hoses that were in the Brickdam Street area and also in Hatfield Street, as usual, had water spurting out of it. And you know, we always have a problem with water. And it was eventually at around 12:15, sorry, 1:15, an hour and 15 minutes later, that one of the residents and persons who was in the area in total disgust went and got some tools. What I should mention is that just prior to that, in one of the occasions when Nigel was explaining that the hydrant had water, one of the officers said, look, this hydrant has a blue mark on it, and the blue mark means that it's not working. And so they kind of backed off. But this one individual thankfully went and got some tools and opened up the hydrant himself an hour and a half later. And sure enough, water was gushing out of it.
Kathy, when taken separately, and Amanza, it doesn't seem to be much, but when you look at the total picture of all that went wrong yesterday, it seems bizarre. It seems ominous that here you have Kathy Hughes, pretty competent, Nigel Hughes, pretty competent, saying that, you know, this is our premises and we know water comes out of this hydrant here. And nobody seems interested in seeing where the water comes out of the hydrant and to be of assistance to bringing control to that blaze there. It seems bizarre to us.
It is totally bizarre. And, you know, I got a lot of text messages from people, colleagues, friends saying, Kathy, calm down, calm down. Because there was one point when I couldn't understand why we're in this desperate situation.
Your building is almost about to go up in flames.
Exactly. You know, we're cutting down a tree so the building doesn't go to fire, burn. And I'm talking about our building, which is about 5 buildings down the road. Imagine that there are buildings right opposite the back of the police station, that would also have been threatened and would have been lost before it even got to our buildings. And therefore, my insistence was really to ensure that there was no additional loss to all the range of properties in the Hatfield Street area. And I remember at one stage saying, even if you claim to think that this is not working, if so many people say they saw water coming out 3 months ago, you've got nothing to lose. Open it and see. If it does have water, then you have additional support to fight this fire.
Yeah.
But it was a complete ignore. And therefore, I think there was a message that was sent very, very clearly that they were not interested in having access to that hydrant and the water as a backup should it be needed.
Yeah.
I was kind of trying to say, look, if this thing gets worse, I thought at least if you've got a hose connected to the hydrant, you could start to protect those buildings in Hatfield streets. But clearly they thought otherwise.
What an embarrassment. What an embarrassment. You know, they're saying the well is not working, the reservoir there, the hydrant, and then the residents there, yourself and husband, prove them different. You know, it's bizarre and embarrassing. Just one more thing chalked up to this administration. Amanza, the head of state, the installed Irfan Ali, on his way to Barbados this morning, stopped in at Ground Zero there at the Brickdam police station, or what now house the remnants of the Brickdam police station in tents. And he made a wide sweep, lots of assertions and conjectures, hinting that, you know, somebody overseas said they were going to burn down something, and so this is evidence of that, and we were going to get international partners to help us in this investigation. These are the same folks who didn't want international partners to investigate Harris Singh and Mr. Boston and Esikebo, Joel and Isaiah Henry, but they're going to get investigations on a whim. This is a guy that doesn't read, who doesn't internalize information. He said the very same thing at the UN. He said, I haven't read the technical studies for the new Harbor Bridge, but I know the old one, the new one is going to be sounder environmentally than the old one. Same foolishness and stupidness this morning again. Less than 24 hours later, here is Clarence Green, not from the US, who has been right in the Brickdam police station all along, according to them, who is confessing now to lighting the police station ablaze. Amanda, what do you make of this? Besides the obvious.
I think you used the right word, bizarre. The entire thing is simply bizarre. And the president's statement this morning was irresponsible. He was literally pouring gasoline on an already inflamed situation. To do that was just simply irresponsible. You do not impute motives. You're supposed to be the president. You are supposed to be the person that is bringing order and calm and so on, but you use the occasion to make political innuendos. It's just downright irresponsible. And, you know, it just demonstrates that they are simply about scoring cheap political points. The work of the police has been set back tremendously by this. And you should be using your every effort to get to the bottom of it. There seems to me to be either a serious disconnect in this PPPC regime, or everybody simply doing what I want, because you have the president saying, oh, we're going to call for international investigations. And 1 hour later, there's a bulldozer flattening the evidence. Like, what are we?
Yeah.
You know, and then the Clarence Green story. I just feel that the PPPC regime is disrespectful to Guyanese. Like, they believe that they can concoct that, and Guyanese are just going to have to accept it. It is disrespectful. It is completely disrespectful. And for those, you know, we have a number of colleagues with offices along Hatfield Street. Mr. Ford's office, Roysdale Ford's office, is on Hatfield Street, right behind the police station. Down to their own says Gunraj was fuming that there were no fire tenders on the Hatfield Street side of the police station 30 minutes after the blaze had started. So it was like these, like I said, Sharon, it was simply bizarre. And then you add this confession to the mix. A prisoner with lighter and
wire and sponge.
Right? Not
could take down the whole Brickdam police station.
Makati, don't laugh.
Mission impossible.
No,
it's
I know I shouldn't. But
it's just
Amanza,
bizarre.
They must think that we're totally stupid. Because think about it. That where Brickdam police station is, this is not a shop in Regent Street that anybody could walk in and out and go any part of. You've got the largest police station probably in the country, I don't know, but let's say at least in Georgetown, located there. and you have right opposite the office of the minister responsible
Yeah.
for security. So you know that it is an area that technically should be highly secure, well guarded. So the suggestion, the initial suggestion, which the president, in a very irresponsible way, was suggesting that somebody came in off the street and was able to go wherever undetected. Somebody with connections to New York, could go in there, um, quietly suggesting it's some opposition person that would go
That
in
in and of
and
itself is an indictment on the
absolutely,
police
because
force.
with no evidence, first of all. Well, you're right in that something would be wrong if the police force is admitting that somebody off the street could go in and really do this undetected, right? The second thing is that the president would, in the most irresponsible manner, without any investigation, based on we don't know what, assume that it is automatically someone from, New York and some connection to the opposition. As you will know, they even went to the extent of creating videos, because I've seen two different videos, that are talking about the opposition destabilizing the government. So I want everybody to understand
And little
that
do
that is the environment.
little do they know it's just a sponge, a wire, and a lighter.
Exactly. And after they created this entire scenario, by 6 o'clock yesterday, all these things were playing, and
Yeah,
then we hear that it's a prisoner in the
yeah,
prison who
yeah,
happened to have a piece of wire, a sponge, and wherever he pushed this
yeah,
wire and sponge and the lighter, it happened to connect with a whole pile of paper
yeah.
that burnt
Incidentally,
the building down.
yeah,
I mean, really?
yeah. Eighty
And
percent,
this, yep.
80%,
And
according to
and
them,
and
according
what
to the
is
statement out of the police force, Cathy, it says here that
yep.
the let me see the yes, 80% of the building has gone. Right? Last week it was a jingle shaking this country. A jingle. This week is a lighter, a piece of wire, and a sponge.
It's really sad, Sharon. It is
It's
it is
it's
really,
it's
really
it
sad.
is very sad.
It is, and I'll say this. I keep making the point that the PPPC is not ready for this information age that we are living in. Because today I was looking at an ordinary post by a citizen who pointed out that the Clarence Green scenario does not make sense because when they when the first clips of the fire and the first videos of the fire, at this time it was only smoke billowing from the building, it was not in fact coming from the lockups.
Mhm.
And so we have that contradiction. And because you can go back and you can actually timeline these things, it just makes us look as a nation so sad. On the world stage it makes us look like the laughing stock. It is simply, it's just abhorrent, and I think we have to take a very good look at the Guyana fire service. We have to, because we have to ask ourselves questions. Is the man who is heading the fire service the most qualified for the position? Is he the most competent? This is the fire chief that fainted when the Sharon's building burnt down. And given the history, you would understand that he was appointed under the PPPC. And given the history of the PPP to appoint their people over competence, I cannot
Yeah.
help but wonder, and it's something that I will be asking that we look into to see whether the person who is heading a critical service like the fire service is, in fact, the most qualified person to do so. These are not things that we can take lightly. This is the second major fire in the city of Georgetown, and I'm sure the damage is now into the billions of Guyana dollars. And so, we can't just sidely by and just brush it under the carpet, but we have to reject out
Yeah.
of hand these sentiments by the president that, oh, this was something that was politically motivated. But you know why they can do that? They do that because they know that they will get the support, because it doesn't matter how ludicrous what it is that they say
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
They know that once they say it, it's going to be peddled and perpetuated and perpetrated, and 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 so they get away time and again, because somehow or the other we refuse to engage our some of us at least, our intellect in the manner that we should, and demand proper answers.
Amanda,
Claramanda.
they've said here in this statement, all the buildings in the compound have been completely destroyed, with the exception
Right.
of the station lockups that were rehabilitated under the APNU AFC, the barracks, which are derelict, which is a derelict building according to the Ghana police force. The barrack is a derelict building, and the impact base. Everything else has been razed to the ground with a wire, a sponge, and a lighter. In addition to that, in another statement coming out of the police force, they have said that the identification, recording, and the photographing of the fire debris and burnt vehicles are being completed. So I guess they're going to use that for their international investigations. Right? They're in an identification, or they were rather in an identification process between yesterday and this morning, before those Himax went in there, recording and photographing the fire debris and burnt vehicles. Interestingly bizarre is all I can say.
And Sharon, we know just from previous fires that when the fire service in the past have presented a report, they have been able to ascertain what chemicals were in the vicinity, what they tested for, and all those kinds of things. So it's curious as to how a photograph is going to be able to capture that. And that's why it is absolutely ludicrous that on one hand you say you're going to investigate, and on the other hand, in less than 24 hours, you remove all the evidence.
Yeah.
I mean, we have parts of the country with expanding piles of garbage, and we have nothing that can come and pick them up. But we have a crime scene, and we can clear that up.
Yeah. And what's
less than 24
interesting,
hours.
Kathy, I know you're a communication specialist, and Manza jump in at any point. What seems interesting to me is whose photographs? Because, Kathy, up until last evening, there was nothing of this fire on the Department of Public Information Facebook page. Nothing. And somewhere around 9 o'clock last evening, there were two videos posted. One is about the press conference, and one showed a portion of the fire. There was not a single photograph on the Department of Public Information. And Irfan Ali want to go there and cuts down the fire service. He got to cuss down NCN. He got to cuss down DPI and all of these jagabats. DPI had a couple of videos, none with clarity. So I don't know if the international investigating team, the impending team, is going to use those blurry images produced by NCN. It is bizarre to me that there would be no national coverage of what transpired there. This is the oldest police force, perhaps in the region, right? And perhaps the historic value of that building, because one man, right, not even of any repute in criminality, a wire, a sponge, and a lighter. That's what they want us to believe.
But Sharad, you know that in journalism, the term for that is censorship. Clearly, the information was censored. There must have been a deliberate policy, and we saw the results of that policy, which said, do not put any of this information on our national stations. So imagine people that could have houses nearby who might have been out to Georgetown or wherever. The only signal they get is NCN. They're not in a position to be informed, to take action, to call a relative or anything, you know? It is a very, very sad thing. But again, I think Amanza mentioned the importance of technology. And that is why today every single citizen is a reporter in himself or herself. And that is why all that information is out there and could not be hidden. And what is most important is to note the lack of confidence, the majority of citizens. And if you do a perusal of social media and the comments over the last 24 hours, there's no distinction on race or ethnicity on this occasion. Everybody has already started to speculate. They burn it down, its prime location. And of course, as you know, not my words, I'm only repeating what is on social media. A barrage of ideas as to who getting a new hotel going up, or what going up there, what the location can be used for. I mean, it could be funny in one respect, but it's very sad because it shows the lack of confidence this nation has, A, in the police force, and B, also regrettably in the fire service.
Yep. And you know, members of the public, go right ahead, Amanza.
No, I'm saying that, you know, Sharon, I worry because there is I think in order to be able to cope and to preserve our mental health, maybe we deal with things with a degree of levity and you know, laughter that maybe we shouldn't, because our society is rapidly degenerating and deteriorating. It is it this does not happen in any other
Yeah.
democratic
Yes.
society, and it's
Yes.
important that our people
Yeah.
understand that this is not the
Yeah.
way it happens. We
Yeah.
cannot become so immune to
Yeah.
wrongdoing that we are not able to call it. And as Kathy rightly said, a lot of people do not believe that this is the case because
Yeah.
you see it in the comments.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
and,
When
and
you
Amanda, at
ask,
the end of the program, I'm going to show our viewers what the Guyana Police Force and that large base there that takes up an entire block has been reduced to a couple tents, right? They have become the
Yeah.
school patrolling St. Stanislaus College. We handle these guys, these jagabats and these crosses, a professional police force. We have been reduced to nomads
no, you know,
in
and
tents.
you know what is so interesting? I think it was in August of this year. There was a serious there was a big to do about the handover of a number of fire tenders to the fire service. But there was not a fire tender in Hatfield Street for a good half an hour after the blaze started.
Amanda
It's
and Kathy,
simply
the
Longer.
administration is learning
Longer.
that we cannot keep throwing money at problems and hope to solve them. You need competent people to match
yes,
the resources.
but
Yeah.
when you bypass the competent people in
Yeah.
favor of people that you can, it is the modus operandi of the government. Look at how they gutted the EPA.
Yeah,
You remove the most qualified man
yeah,
for the job and you put people that you can control. It is what Kemraj refers to as their control freakism.
yeah,
The Guyanese must realize it is costing them because guess what? It's the taxpayers' money
yeah.
paying.
I want to remind us too that just a couple of weeks ago, we actually read about persons in the fire service, similarly to the problem with the persons in the police service, not being able to get the rewards, promotions that are normally in place that were agreed upon prior to 2020, as we know. And we know that the Police Service Commission, there was that whole issue. Well, I think it was a couple of weeks ago, if you could correct me if I'm mistaken, Jared, but a couple of weeks ago, we heard that there were similar cases within
Correct.
fire service,
Yeah.
you know?
The fire chief was taken to court and was put on bail. It is
Yes.
bizarre, as
Exactly.
Amanda said, the decadence and decay.
All of these kinds of things from a human resource managing aspect will have an impact on on an organization. You know, you cannot expect with those inherent challenges where people feel that they've been there a long time, they've done their time, they've given yeoman service, and the rewards are not there just because of sometimes. a perception that you might be on the wrong side of what we call this political fence. So we are reaping the results of all of this. You know, I actually said to a person working in the fire service, I don't know who the person is, but I was saying to him it dawned on me, how come you see fires in other parts of the world and you never see hoses that got so many holes? And in fairness, I was asking, is it the way we store these hoses? You know,
and this year and last year was the biggest budget ever. Biggest budget ever.
Is it the heat? It can't be the heat, because you got hotter places, Texas, even Caribbean islands, as hot as Guyana. So why is it that we just seem not to be able to manage? And this is a country where we know the majority of our buildings in the city are still wooden buildings. The homes of many ordinary people is more likely to be a wooden building. And therefore, you would have thought that the focus would have been to ensure that we have a very well-equipped, a professional fire service.
Yeah.
And I know that I saw individuals that are doing their best. However, we've got to be able to do better than that.
Yeah, definitely so.
I wanted to segue off of what Kathy said. The reality is that a number of our servicemen and women are demoralized.
Yeah.
They are demoralized, and they have taken the position that I will simply go to work and draw my pay.
Yep.
And you know, this is why I looked with such consternation when Irfan Ali was talking this morning, and I'm like, is he serious?
Yeah.
And the man said that's a very interesting point you've raised there. Yeah.
The hypocrisy of it. You by your actions daily, you are demoralizing your public servants. You are demoralizing our servicemen and women. And then you just, because you can come and you can bully them and speak to them in this manner, you do it.
Yeah.
Why not create the enabling environment for people to come and give their best? You want to talk about attitude? Attitude is determined by the environment that you create. And if you create an environment that people feel hopeless, this is how they will behave. So Irfan Ali needs to listen to himself. He needs to go back home and play that tape and listen and understand that for the last 2 years, despite the biggest budget ever, you have not given these people a salary increase. Yeah. And fine, they're firemen and women, they have a job to do, but they're also human beings. They are also people. They're not robots.
Yeah.
And these are the things that we have to talk about.
And they're going to all the stores. They're going to all the stores recognizing that there is a 16% increase in the cost of living, which is well documented. I mean, this is not an opposition saying this. You look at Stabrook News has had articles. Everybody's put the numbers. Anybody could go back to what the prices were 2020 to what it is now.
Amanda and Kathy, I want to thank you guys for being part of the program this evening and to adding so much context to what has been transpiring and sense for the Guyanese people, because these people are trying to fool us. But don't come wrong, we funny. Amanda Walton, Desir, Catherine Hughes, thanks for being in the ring this evening.
Thank you, Sharon.
Sharon, have a good day.
And folks, just before I let you go, I want to show you the other side of that video where we left Stabrook Market Square to show you what has been transpiring. We have been reduced to a tent city. Mendicants. That is what we have been reduced to in this country. And what Kathy said there is very startling to me, because as I was out there just yesterday, initially, as I was out there and you look to see not only the fire service, the demoralizing posture of the police, right? It's like whatever come to do. There was no urgency with some of them. They're just standing by like, my God, hopeless and helpless. And it was a sight to behold, their whole posture and composition. Depressed, almost, depressed almost. Folks, I want to give you the other side of that video that we started to show early on, to let you see what they have reduced us to. To let you guys see what they have reduced us to. And then we're going to wrap up. Then we are going to wrap up, ladies and gentlemen. So take a look at this. Take a look at this. The other thing that's quite interesting is that there seems to have been no contingency plan for a fire, even within an institution like the police force. So while a lot of blame is going to the fire service, what the Brickdam police station and got a bucket of sand, a fire extinguisher? Huh? It's bizarre. It is extremely bizarre. Folks, take a look at the rest of this. You might have seen by now lots of tents have now populated the compound, the
play area, the basketball court of the St. Stanislaus College, and that's now going to be housing some of the operations of the Guyana police force, at least the Brickdam operation. And this Brickdam operation is critical for Region 4. It is where it is the command center, to put it quite frankly, where the Region 4 operations take place. Tents are going up indefinitely as they chart their own way forward. Once again, this is the area that is now housing the Brickdam police station operations. All of these tents. When the Guyana police force was handed over to the Irfan Ali installed regime, was a competent police force. Just over a year later, it's tent city, as though they are nomads. And so what you're seeing happening in the background here, it's tents going up. That is going to house some of the operation of the Guyana police force. We're going to just walk a few steps up to give you guys a sense of where the Brickdam police station is in relation to the Guyana Fire Service headquarters there by Sabrick Market Square. We're passing the St. Stanislaus College. We got Home Affairs to our left. And just across the road from Home Affairs, we have the Brickdam police station. The only building that was saved. You couldn't ask for a more stark irony than that. The only building that was saved is a derelict building. And just across Magnet Place and Brickdam, you have the Brickdam police station. This is that derelict building that was quote-unquote salvaged. Again, across from the Brickdam police station is the Wesleyan Bible College, and next to that is Paho. And we have taken a leisurely walk here, and it didn't take us a lot of time. And so lots of questions are going to be asked, and the nation definitely needs answers. So folks, once again, this is what remains of the Brickdam police station that was completely gutted by fire yesterday. And of course, from where we started at the headquarters of the Guyana Fire Service to here, had we just made a brisk walk across, wouldn't have taken us 5 minutes. As you can see, some folks are still out here from the fire service doing what they got to do. All you have here is rubble. There are reports out there indicating that 80% of what stood here has been lost. %80 of what was in here has been lost. And this was the entrance for the Brickdam police station. Again, it was totally engulfed by fire yesterday. It was an inferno yesterday here, and has now 80% of what stood here has been gutted by that major fire yesterday. By that major fire. This was once the entrance. This is all that remains of it now. All that remains. The 20% that has been salvaged is a derelict building. And so lots of head scratching in the government. Lots of head scratching in the government. And again, part of that 80% of what remains is that derelict building. And to my right it's the lockups. And strangely enough, or coincidentally, the lockups here were constructed or reconstructed under the APNU AFC administration, and that is part of the 80%, part of the 20% that remains of the Brickdam police station. Back to the studios. You might have seen by now lots of tents have now populated the compound.
And that's it for us at our end here. We want to thank you. We want to thank you guys for joining our special broadcast, the aftermath of the Inferno there that has razed to the ground the Brickdam police station. Thanks for joining us, folks. That's our time this evening. We're going to stick around and give a shout out to a couple folks. Those of you who are going on to other places or other programs, stay safe, guys. Continue to social distance, wear your mask, sanitize, practice all the COVID-19 protocols that are there for your health and safety, that of your friends, family, and loved ones. And as you go, folks, share the live stream. Thanks for joining us this evening. That's it. That's it, guys. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you there, Clive Jackson and Marilyn Parak. Thanks for joining us. Claudette Boville, thanks for joining us. Denise Jones, thanks for joining us. Corinne Day, thanks for joining us. Vijay Singh, all you fantastic folks, share the live stream as you go this evening. Share the live stream. And thanks each and every one of you for joining us. Onyx Duncan, I see you there. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for stopping by, Onyx. Great to see all of you fantastic folks joining in the ring this evening. Patricia Asana and Leanne Joseph, Leanne Gravesandi, Amanda Daniels, thanks for joining us. And folks, we're still inviting you guys. We want to keep doing more of what we're doing. More and more of this, and even in a greater and professional manner. I'm not going to belabor it too much this evening, but as I have you here, we're still encouraging you guys to come on board and to partner with us. You guys know by now how you can do that. At Cash App, we are available. We are available at the PayPal system, the MMG system locally. We're also available via the Western Union platform and also the MoneyGram platform. So we can continue to do what we're doing here, bringing the information that you need right into your living room, right into the palm of your hands. Thanks for joining us, folks. Thank you so much for joining us, and continue to come on board and to partner with us. And you can WhatsApp us on 627-6963. Any guidance you need on any of these platforms. 627-6963. Again, thank you all for coming by, for dropping by in the ring. Ringsiders, you make the program what it is, and we're not ashamed of that. You guys make this program what it is, and we're not ashamed of that at all, at all, at all. Great to see each and every one of you. Coretta Millington, good to see you. Mark Williams, Alexis Arthur, Alexia, is it Gaius Griffith? Good to see you there. Abigail Uthniel or Uthleen Prasad, great to see you. Evelyn Duncan, Laverne, Harry Chiran, Kelman, great to see you there. Lexi Boss and Heather Rowe, Andrew Cosbert, all you great folks like Jackie Samuels, Auntie Sandra, Sandra Hanover, June Daniels, McKinnon, good to see you there. Sandrine Baird also is with us. Sandra Hawker, all the Sandras. Yasmin Henry, Coffee, Alvin Prince, all you fantastic folks. Thanks for joining us in the ring. It's been a working weekend for us here. We're going to see you guys nonetheless tomorrow evening. We're going to see you guys tomorrow evening at 8 o'clock as we head back to regular programming. Thanks for joining in the ring this evening, guys, and do stay safe. Stay safe, guys.